afternoon, we're presenting two of our newest awards to recognize the excellence of our soldiers, the Quad A UAS Soldier of the Year and the Quad A UAS Unit of the Year Awards. The Quad A UAS Soldier of the Year Award was established in 2006. It's sponsored by General Atomics Aeronautical Systems, and this award is presented to the Army Unmanned Aircraft System Soldier who has made an outstanding contribution to or innovation in the employment of unmanned aircraft systems, over and above the normal missions assigned during the awards period. This year's UAS Soldier of the Year is Staff Sergeant Joshua Palowich, Company E, 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, Airborne. And I'd now like to ask Staff Sergeant Palowich to come forward and receive his award. And I'd also invite Lieutenant General Barkley, Colonel Tim Baxter, Chris Seat, the VP of Programs for General Atomics, the award sponsor, to help me present this award.
The Army Aviation Association of America Unmanned Aircraft Systems Soldier of the Year Award. Staff Sergeant Joshua A. Palowich, Company E, 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, Airborne, demonstrated exceptional professionalism and expertise as an unmanned aircraft systems standardization instructor-operator from July 1st, 2011 through June 30th, 2012. His most notable contributions were in developing both the junior and senior operators, thereby ensuring his unit's mission success and the future development and growth of the UAS community. He met every one of the many challenges encountered with an extremely motivated and mission-focused attitude that was demonstrated in his daily instruction and warfighting. He kept Company E's 14 operators well ahead of changes within the UAS community and trained them to find, fix, and finish the enemy on the battlefield. His focus on the unique challenges of the UAS in meeting unit mission requirements established the standard for all UAS operators to emulate. As a direct result of his leadership and abilities, the unit accomplished 20 autonomous Hellfire strikes, 5 of which he fired himself, over 7,000 incident-free flight hours in support of Special Operations Ground Force commanders, 1,000 of which he flew himself, and over 500 combat and training sorties with more than 30 Special Operations UAS operators. Staff Sergeant Palowich's significant accomplishments clearly identify him as the Army Aviation Association of America's Unmanned Aircraft Systems Soldier of the Year for 2012.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank my wonderful wife. She made a lot of sacrifices to be where I'm at today. Secondly, distinguished guests, thank you for being here. And lastly, I'd like to thank Captain Souza, First Sergeant Kidd, and Mr. Anderson for your mentorship and allowing me to take the position where I am today. Thank you.
Staff Sergeant Palowich's wife is with him today, and I'd like to ask Eric to please stand to be recognized. Thank you for being here with us. Our second award this afternoon is the Quad A UAS Unit of the Year Award. It also was established in 2006. It's sponsored by AAAA, and it recognizes the Army Unmanned Aircraft Systems Unit that has made an outstanding contribution to or innovation in the employment of unmanned aircraft systems over and above the normal missions assigned during the awards period. This winner of the Quad A UAS Unit of the Year Award is Company E, 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment Airborne. And I'd now like to ask both Captain Souza and First Sergeant Kidd to join me at the podium, along with General Barkley, Colonel Tim, we're going to ask you to come back up here, and Bill Irby, the Senior VP and General Manager for UAS at the AAAA Corporation.
Army Aviation Association of America, Unit of the Year Award. Company E, 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment Airborne, played an instrumental role over the past year in Operation Enduring Freedom. They flew over 500 combat sorties and 7,000 hours in support of combined Joint Special Operations Forces throughout Afghanistan. From July 1st, 2011 to June 30th, 2012, Company E successfully executed numerous reconnaissance, surveillance, target acquisition, and close air support missions utilizing N-4 Hellfire missiles, always in direct support to operations forces in the forefront of the fight. Company E was directly credited with over 32 enemy killed in action and 4 enemy wounded in action during autonomous engagements. Unit soldiers also coordinated through numerous site surveys and incorporation meetings, and flawlessly conducted the transition of another MQ-1C unit from Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation New Dawn, to Operation Enduring Freedom, integrating them in the Joint Special Operations fight. In spite of significant limitations, such as operating with only 17 personnel in an austere environment, unit soldiers were the experts in their field and demonstrated that they are truly deserving of the 2012 Army Aviation Association of America's Outstanding Unmanned Aircraft System Unit of the Year Award.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Lieutenant General Barkley, Brigadier General Yannon, and Mr. Irby, our AAI sponsor, and all distinguished guests and visitors here from Quad A. On behalf of First Sergeant Kidd and myself, we want to tell you how much we appreciate your recognition of this very prestigious award. It meant a lot to us in the hours and the effort we put in for the train-up, pre-deployment, and to take the fight to the enemy over in Afghanistan. Most importantly, I'd like to thank as well the 160th SOAR's command team and the staffs at both the SOAR, AVSOC, and Program Management UAS for the outstanding support they provided to us. I think last but not least, it is 100% reflective of the incredible impact that and dedication those soldiers had every day to fly 7,000 hours with only 17 guys. It really took every person coming to work today, coming to work every day, and giving it their all. Another important person to remember is Corey Anderson. If you could please stand up. City with 3P, Corey Anderson was my executive officer over in Afghanistan, and by far the most technical expert in his field, and is definitely a credit to warrant officers everywhere. But again, thank you to all the families that supported those soldiers and the outstanding soldiers like Staff Sergeant Joshua Palachwich. Thank you again. And Mr. Irby, go Army, beat Navy. We'll make you an honorary soldier one day. Thank you again.
And once again, excuse me, I'd like to also recognize First Sergeant Kidd's mother and sister who are here with us this afternoon. Please stand, Tamara and Lisa, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. And it's now my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. Lieutenant General Jim Barkley is a 1978 graduate of West Point, still somewhat recovering from last Saturday's game, but he branched infantry and has served in a multitude of staff and command positions, including combat tours in Haiti and Iraq. And I think most of you know he's our former branch chief, and now he's our Assistant Chief of Staff, G8. So without any further ado, before he pushes me off the podium here, let me welcome Lieutenant General Jim Barkley.
First of all, it's always good to be around a group of aviation people. Quad A always does a great job of putting these things on, and especially industry that supports us, because I think it's unique about what our branch, not only what we bring to the fight, but how we bring it to the fight. I think we've probably got one of the best examples of great relationships between industry and the Army, and you just don't find that. And I will tell you that in the upcoming year, next couple of years, that's going to be very important. I think we're going to have to work even harder and demonstrate even more that teamwork that's going to be required between Army Aviation and our industry partners. I'm not, as you all realize, or most of you do, my job now is a G8. I'm the program manager for the Army, and I'm not going to bring gloom and doom to you today. I'm not going to talk about sequestration and all that other stuff. It's just a fact of life. And it's not just sequestration, the fact that we all know that our whole nation is going to have an impact, whether it's in DOD or whether it's in healthcare or whether it's in our entitlements. I mean, we're just part of it, and we're going to have to be part of the team as part of our nation, and we'll figure out one way or another to continue to do the things that we've been doing in the past, and we'll do them probably in a better way than we've been doing them in the past, because that's what's great about our branch and about this team between Army Aviation and its industry partners, and we'll make that happen. I know your theme, and I'm sure, Pat Tierney and some of these other guys have gotten up and talked about some of the great things, your theme about where we were in 2001 and some of the things and where we started, where we are today, and then where we're going. If you think about when we started with the UAS stuff, I mean, think about this back in 2001. 78 UAS systems. That's what we had in the Army. And I think you might even have to question yourself if really those 78 were truly, UAS and just what they could bring to the fight. And today, we're at 7,000 and growing. The importance of what UAS brings to the fight is clearly there by listening to what these great Americans that we just recognized, both in the operators and the command team, and they are just one part of what's going on every day. I'm sure you're reading the papers and you start looking at all these incidents, accidents, lost aircraft, downed aircraft, pilot fatigue, with regards to UAS pilots. But the good thing about that is you have never seen U.S. Army associated with those comments or those events or those actions. So that speaks highly of how we have done this with our team between industry and the Army, how we have accomplished the training, how we have integrated the systems on these platforms, and the fact that it is a continual process. It never stops. We continue to go back and refine and change and find ways to do it better, and that speaks highly of that teamwork again, of making things happen. You look at where we're going with our full spectrum cabs. That idea, first one's in theater now, of an aviation brigade owning its own UASs belonging to that squadron that are daily doing missions. I think we're going to see some great outcomes from that. We're learning some great lessons learned, but clearly it's an indication that that's something that we need to continue, and we're probably, it could grow. Let me just put it that way on how we're looking at manned-unmanned teaming in the future, because part of it is because of the success it brings. The other part is because we can accomplish some of the same things. And I'm not saying we're getting rid of all of our man stuff, but I mean, we've got to take a hard look at that ratio and the numbers and the missions we're being asked to do. So, I mean, that is great. The manned-unmanned technology, it continues to progress. It gets better every day. We are one of the few services, the only service, that when we design these, along with the industry partners, our integration process and how we can upgrade, bring new, change, and continue to move and do the fight at the same time and train operators. I mean, clearly, that's the example. We get questioned all the time by the Air Force on how we do those things. They're looking to adopt a lot of our models, the ones that they think will bring them an advantage in their unmanned system. One of the things that we're also looking at that we've got to be focused on is reducing the cost in the future. And I'm not talking about the overall cost of platforms. Really, it's the total cost of how we get after this. Because as I started this off, that's what the environment's going to be here in the future. And it's not just about Army aviation. It's about our ground combat systems. You know, it's about our soldiers, whether it's compensation and entitlements. We're taking hard looks at all of that. But from an unmanned aerial system, I mean, we got to look at those costs, the integration costs, training costs, technology coming on board, how we phase it in and out, and then how we can reduce those costs and still get quality and still meet the mission requirements that we've got laid out in front of us. So that's one of the major challenges we have, and we're going to have to work hard at that in the future to ensure that we can meet those requirements. Because at the end of the day, and those of you that have been to these before, have always heard me say this when I get ready to close these things out. At the end of the day, it's all about the soldier on the ground. Because if we can't do it to protect them and do the things they need to do their mission and bring them home, then we're focused on the wrong thing. And I will tell you that has been, you know, we have a very rich heritage in Army aviation of saying that it's never been about us, it's always about the ground soldier. It's always about those that we support. And we've got to keep that in our mind as we move forward with all the constraints we're going to have, from monetary, fiscal constraints, force structure constraints, all those things. At the end of the day, we cannot lose sight of the importance of that young soldier that's out there that's counting on us 24 hours a day, any kind of weather, to come to his call when he needs help. And again, my hat's off to all of you here today, industry, and those in the military that are out here for what you do. Quad A, Bill, Danny, thanks again for putting on another great event like this and giving me the opportunity to come out and share some time with all of you and see a bunch of old friends again. And but more importantly, to be part of recognizing 3 great Americans here and their families, because the families are also part of this, and it's always great to have them here because they probably sacrifice more than anyone. So thank you for coming out and doing this. And let's give these great Americans another great round here.
Sir, thanks for taking time out of your really busy schedule. I know General Barkley is going to head immediately after this and head back to the building, and he's got another meeting immediately following. So we do appreciate your time, and we know how valuable it is. You'll probably be happy to know that other than feeding you lunch, we're not going to give you another cheesy Quad A shirt to wear. So we have donated all our speaker gifts to a charitable foundation, and our selection for this symposium has been the Fisher House Foundation. So we thank you for your support this afternoon. As we finish up now, we still got some time. 13:30 is the resumption of the professional sessions. I would urge everybody to use that next 30 minutes to go ahead and continue networking and dialogue with everybody here in attendance. And we'll see everybody back in the professional sessions at 13:30. Thank you.